I've been talking about eclipses all year long. We had 2 eclipses in March, Aries and Virgo. I should say Virgo and Aries. And then we had 1 eclipse 10 days ago from when we're recording this, the eclipse in Pisces. And our next and final eclipse of 2025, and of the fall season in particular, is the South Node eclipse in Virgo at 29 degrees of the mutable Earth sign, which is happening on September 21st at 3:54 p.m. Eastern Time. I mentioned this earlier that I have a class on Sunday that starts at 3:45, so like 6 minutes before that's going exact. I'll welcome people in. We will give a quick overview, some of which I will be talking about now. So I'll give a very quick overview astrologically what it means. Then we'll get into a breathwork practice, and that will also include visualization and mantras. And then right out of that, in the portal, we will do some journal prompts, reflect, and then close out. I will say this in my class on Sunday. Eclipses are not a time for manifesting. The thing we do on eclipses is reflecting, hence this meditation and journaling practice. We're reflecting, we are laying low, we are hydrating, we are resting. That is what we do on eclipses, because they can kick up a lot of energy, and you also might be exhausted. I have been quite tired, and I know some of my psychic friends as well have been absolutely gassed during this eclipse season. Of course, dreams get activated, always a really interesting time as an intuitive person during eclipses, because you see different spikes that happen in and around them, or the content within them is particularly fascinating. So it's a day that we want to lay low. I created a little container so we can do that together. 1, South Node, which if you're curious to learn about the South Node, I have a class up on my YouTube channel from August where I talked about what eclipses are. So understanding solar versus lunar eclipses, what that means astronomically and astrologically. And then North Node versus South Node. So if you want more of a breakdown, you can find that video as well. Again, it's not that old. It's only from a few weeks ago. And when we're talking about a South Node eclipse, we're thinking about the collective. So again, the eclipses affect the collective as well as you as an individual. But the collective need for letting go, that's South Node. We're releasing, we're shedding. Specifically, what is no longer serving us. And in the case of Virgo, that means the low side energy. So what is it about Virgo that is not working? What is it that's holding us back that would allow us to grow more, which of course Virgo loves. Virgo wants to grow, wants to develop, wants to self-improve. So hopefully that means there is less resistance to that. So releasing what is no longer serving us in Virgo, specifically perfectionism, being overly critical of yourself and others, and being hyper productive or productivity oriented. I need to be efficient. I need to get things done. I need to check things off of my to-do list. We can very easily swing that pendulum and go on the far extreme. It's great to get things done, but it is not great to be so fixated on getting things done that we have no moments of peace. And reminder that by this time, we're going to have Venus moving through Virgo, wanting to have us release as well, wanting to have us slow down and try to have fun and not be so serious. So both of these events, which are happening just a few days apart, but then, Venus will continue to transit. It's not going to be anywhere near 29 degrees of Virgo, but they're both going to be in the same sign, so they're co-present. They're both encouraging us to release what's not working, to try to lighten things up in this area of our life. And also to intentionally integrate some of that release and energy that we're talking about with that degree point. So you want to look at your chart for 29 degrees of Virgo, so just the 1 degree, which one house is at 29 degrees. On that day, the eclipse portal is activating. So it doesn't mean something necessarily will happen that day for you, because eclipse series, as you'll hear in that class, last around a year and a half. So it's just hitting on a certain point. It's like, hey, in this area of life, beginnings and endings, specifically endings, what we're trying to release, what's not working, where are we going overboard here in this area of life. The 29th degree, we were talking about the 0 degree before, but the 0 degrees is the first degree of any sign. And the 29th is the last of any sign. It's called the anaretic degree. And it contains a heightened ending energy. So we're already talking about South Node, letting things go. But when we're at the 29th degree, it's like, no, this is seriously the end. We're going to have other Virgo eclipses. But energetically, this is seriously the end. So that is the vibe that we have, really, really pushing us to get rid of the stuff that is not helping us. Jackie, I've been so exhausted lately. Yes. That's also 6th house. Yeah. Yeah. So if we're talking about 29 degrees Virgo and you have it in the area of your chart that's representing your physical health, your body, then yes. It's definitely going to make you feel extra tired. You may just be feeling different waves of tired throughout the entire eclipse series, but especially during eclipse season. Because reminder, even though the first eclipse was in Pisces and it wasn't in Virgo, it was still activating Virgo because it's in opposition. It's a sister sign. So that's why the entire eclipse season, it's either hitting it directly or it's hitting it in opposition, which remember is a challenge. It doesn't necessarily feel great. So that's why that's why I would still be doing it. Again, when we're thinking about 6th house, on one hand, that has to do with the physical body, your physical health, how you're taking care of yourself, has to do with pets, has to do with your relationship with work, your work ethic, what you're contributing, work environment, etc. Another reason why, and you may especially be feeling this, Jackie, taking it extra easy on Sunday/Monday, depending on your time zone, when this eclipse is activated. Because if you're already feeling tired and then it's hitting that, whew, yeah, going to be extra, extra tired probably on that day. Yes, we have Virgo that is being transited by Venus at this time. But because we may be so tired, Venus will be encouraging us to take it easy and to relax and to unwind. It's not motivating us to get things done. It wants us to take care of ourselves as well. I have honestly a lot of eclipse resources. So if you are curious to learn more about this eclipse, on my podcast, we did an episode on all of the eclipses for 2025, so spring and fall. So you can find that on my website and on Spotify. And I have in my blog post from that class that we did on the lunar nodes and eclipses, I put a nice handy table, for those of you that love a good table, giving all of the dates, not just for 2025, but for the entire Pisces Virgo eclipse series. So you can see every single one of the dates when the eclipses are happening. Are they in sign? Are they out of sign? This goes from 2024 to 2027. So you can go to the link in my bio. You can head over to my website, go to that blog post. Again, September 2025 astrology, and you can find that in there. And I also have available on my socials, I channeled a card spread for this eclipse season. So if you have any divination cards and you want to use that, this is the last opportunity. You can pull, it's a 2-card spread for each eclipse. So you can pull just for the Virgo eclipse because we already did the last one, unless you care, unless you want to go back to spring, unless you want to go back to the September 7th one, which you can. Those are all available on my social media. if you want a direct link to that, you're like, hey, like I can't find it, feel free to message me and I can send it your way. But it's 2 card spread, so you could pull. I also have offered at different times on social media, I'll pop on and be like, hey, I'll pull the card for you for free. So if you happen to catch me doing that, then make sure to follow along. So that'll be in my stories on Instagram or on Blue Sky. I'll just like post kind of leading up to the eclipse. I know I did it the other day, and I'll definitely do it on eclipse day, but I might do it the day before too. So if you are interested in me pulling, so again, using the cards that I use every week, um, definitely look out for that. Otherwise, if you have your own, you can use that spread as a way to get some intuitive insight on top of what we're discussing today, what I have written on my blog, what we talked about in the podcast, which are all different lenses and interpretations, all recorded, created at very different times.